You're listening to Materials Business, the podcast where engineering, leadership, and innovation meet diversity and inclusion. Hosted by Monica Hernandez, engineer, entrepreneur, and industry advocate. When we embrace different perspectives, we create stronger industries, smarter solutions, and lasting impact. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, wonderful audience of Material Business. My name is Monica Hernandez and I'm your host today. And I have a really special guest, Isabel. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful space and give me the occasion to talk for a while with you and with all your audience. Thank you so much, and thank you to Isila to connect us.
Absolutely. That would have been my next thing. Bisila, we are here cheering for you. Thank you for making this connection possible. I am super glad to have met Isabel. We aligned perfectly, so you had the perfect eye to connect us. And this is our community where people connect to each other, where they say, you should go there, you should listen to this podcast. That's how we have grown so much, and that's how we have now listeners in all the continents in the world. And that's how we get to know people like you that are making a difference and creating a better world. And that is what we want, right? So, Isabel, tell us, who are you?
I'm Isabel Alvarez. I'm a lawyer, psychologist, gender auditor by ILO, International Labor Organization, and now I'm doing my PhD in gender studies. I was born in the north of Spain in a small city called Oviedo, and now I'm living in Madrid and travel a lot to New York. So yeah, living between both.
Interesting. And I guess that's how you are in contact with Bisila.
Yeah, both in Madrid and in New York.
Exactly.
In both cities, because he's living between both too. She's living, sorry.
Awesome. Isabel, we're going to talk about a topic that is very dear to me, a topic that the first time I spoke about, my voice was shaky. And I don't know how it's going to be today, but perhaps I'm going to be shaky again because it brings so many emotions, and nobody but people that have gone through experiences like that will exactly understand what I'm saying. So we're going to talk about violence in the workplace, and specifically sexual harassment in the workplace. Tell us, what is that? Like, what is the definition?
The definition of sexual harassment in the workplace is the ILO in 2090 firms convention 190 convention about violence and sexual harassment in the workplace. It's only for that. And in his first article, the ILO defined the sexual harassment at the workplace like the expression, I read literally, yeah? I tried to translate because I have the definition in Spanish, but yeah, the expression, violence, and sexual harassment at the work in the workplace design a kind of practice unacceptable. Yeah, it's unacceptable, or the threats of that practicals and comportments just one time or in or several times that cause or can cause physical damage, psychological damage, sexual or economic. So this is a very, very wide definition of sexual harassment. And this convention is now the law that rules sexual harassment in most of the countries of the world. Canada, in Canada is ruled from 23, in Spain, in Mexico, in Germany, in France, 42 countries. And this is the definition for sexual harassment. Then every country has to make a definition together, violence and sexual harassment, or in a separated way. But most of the countries today hasn't adapted the law to the convention. So the law that rules the sexual harassment is that law that is direct application. So in Canada, in Spain, in Mexico, in 42 countries, this is the definition. But if we think in a practical way, we can say we can give some examples of sexual harassment that is, of course, a quid pro quo attitude. Let's say, okay, if you don't give me what I want in the sexual terms, I fire you, or I don't hire you. This is because now the convention protected people who apply for a job. That it was not usual.
Mm-hmm.
Before, the law only protected people that work that work in a usual way with a labor contract. But now the convention protected volunteers, interns, people who are applying for a job, even people who was hired. Oh, sorry, who was fired. So what's sexual harassment in a practical way? What I just said, quid pro quo, it's okay, give me what I want in the sexual or I fire you, or I don't hire you, or someone touches you like by casualty, touch you, or I don't know. Now it's very frequently sexual harassment by social media, by phone. Someone sends you porno images, or someone can give, if someone has a video, sexual video with someone, he sends the video for other people. All that kind of practicals are sexual harassment, and of course even more. But it's not sexual harassment, I don't know, just one day someone say you, okay, you are beautiful. Of course not. But if your boss is saying every day that and he tried to get something, someone sexual with this kind of practices, yes, of course it is.
Wow. So when we talk about these subjects, normally people will be reluctant to believe that it still happens, because come on, we are in 2025, right? It's like And then that, I think, also has the victim, doesn't give the victim the opportunity to be vocal about it, because there is all these things behind their ear saying they won't believe me, I will lose my reputation. So have you like, what is your point that you're an auditor of this, so you have seen a lot of practices and malpractices, I guess. So what is your view on, is this happening just in an area or just in one, or is like wide arranged?
Yeah, it's wider range. The problem for the women who suffered this kind of practice is we call re-victimation. So you are a victim for sexual harassment, and then society and people re-victimated you again, because they say, okay, no, this man is wonderful, probably it's your fault, probably you look for him, probably you want money or something like that, because society in a general way of talking try to to hide this problem. They don't are interested on on women talking about that, because the ILO Convention says clearly in the beginning of the law that this is a problem that affects mostly to women and girls. And of course, it's not a fight between men and women, because we need men together with us to fight against that problem. But it's a problem about bad people who has not principles, not ethic, not values, against just a few of men that do that kind of things. So the problem for women is in the first time they suffer the sexual harassment, they suffer psychological problems, and if they leave they work, their job, economical problems. And then if they try to speak loud and try to denounce this kind of practices, sometimes I hope less than before, but a lot of times they suffer the criticisms of society, because society don't believe or don't want to believe this reality.
So what will you say to someone? Let's say I come to you and I say, Isabel, my boss is asking me for sexual favors. But I am a single mother. I can't leave my job because my children depend on me. Like, I don't have anything else. Like, what will you say to that woman?
I say that women, that the law protected them in a strong way. And most of the countries, and now with this ILO Convention, protected the women in a really wide way. So I said the women, okay, first time try to say to the company you are suffering this problem, because the companies has to protect people, and this is an obligation. And most of the companies has sorry about my English, the protocols anti-harassment. So you have to say your company to human resources or some specific area that have this protocol, that I'm suffering this problem. If the company doesn't do anything, you have the right to go to the judge, to the
To the courthouse, I guess, to
said to
a lawyer.
said to the court to ask for protection or to ask about your rights. So what I say to the women is that never try to ask for protection, because there is no right that the women that are suffering that leave their job, losing all his rights and all their economical protection, and try to ask for legal protection in first place for the company protection, because the company has to protect all their workers. And if the company or wherever don't do anything, go to the court and ask for the protection of your rights, because the ILO convention oblige to companies to protect all the women and all the men. But of course, in this case, it's a problem of women in a general way to speak.
That's very interesting. We're gonna put the links into that convention that you are saying. So we're gonna put the link down below. So if you are interested in knowing more, you can go and read more to the audience I'm speaking. But also the other thing that you said, and is very important, is having those allies. And for me, in my career, it's been such an important point of reference for all growth, like technical growth. Many of my mentors were men. Of course, I work in a male-dominated area. And I invite any of you guys that are out there listening to this episode, that if you witness something, to offer your hand, and to don't be an outsider, and to be part of the solution rather than turn your face away. Because one of the things, like Isabel just mentioned, one of the ways why women get shut down is because they're ashamed of what is gonna be the repercussions. So if I go and say that so-and-so did this approach to me, my reputation, which is highly valuable in the work that we do, gonna suffer. And then who's gonna hire me after, right? Because everyone is gonna know that Monica is looking for trouble. So who's gonna hire her? Nobody. So allies are really important, and I really encourage any of the men that are listening to this to, if you see something, and you know that because you guys, it's not strange to you, just to offer your hand, and then help that person coming up.
Yeah, but let me say that it's a big problem, because sometimes when the sexual harassment is a vertical one, is your boss who is harassing you, even if there is witness, because the normal is there is no witness, because the harasser tried to do it in a
Hiding.
know where someone can see it. But even if there is a witness, the problem is these witnesses are scared about losing her own job. So sometimes it's really, really difficult to prove this kind of practices. In the Spanish law, and most of them, and the ILO Convention talk about it. The only declaration of the victim, if there is some kind of credibility, if is a psychological person, normal psychological person, if the there is nothing against the person who is harassing her, or if the all the history is credible, is not illusional history. The only declaration of the victim can open the proceeding, the procediment in the court. So the problem about the provement is solved with that, because sometimes it's really, really tough for people be witness, try to be the witness in this case, because they are scared about lose their own job. So it's not it's not the case when the sexual harassment came from a coworker, or from from, I don't know, from a client or something like that. But when the sexual harassment is coming from your boss, from one of your superior, this is a problem for witness.
I presented in the EDI conference last year, and one of the things that the presentation that I gave, I touched in, it was exactly what you're saying. When these kinds of things happen from a higher authority person, what happens is it almost gives permission to other people to treat you that way. So it also happens with bullying, right? When you're being bullied by your boss, but it's in public. And so everyone is like, oh, now I can pick on her. So if this is the case, if it is from someone with higher authority, that is where the problem is. And that is when we are urging girls and women that if you're suffering that, seek help, because it's definitely not your fault. And there are ways, first of all, like Isabel has mentioned, the company, but if the company is not doing enough, there are other ways from the laws, from the country that you are in, that will help you navigate through that process. Have you ever suffered any of that sexual harassment, Isabel?
No, thanks to God, I never suffered. And I think in my case, permitted me to be more objectical. Because I didn't suffer in any way sexual harassment. So when I thought in working with some issues, some topic in human rights, I thought about something that could help women, but that don't don't destroy me.
That you're not attached to it,
with big suffering. So I am really interested in help women, in try to do yeah, because if only one woman or one man, but only a person that is listening us, we can help one person. For me, is wonderful.
That's a
Yeah,
lot. Mhm.
it's a lot. But no, I never suffered. No.
Nice.
But I listened many histories of women that um, most of the time they lived.
Mhm.
They lived. Okay, I don't want to fight against the president of the most important company in my country. And this is one thing. Most of women just live. And other thing is in many cases in big companies when when the man is a higher is in a high position, they pay to the women. Okay,
Mhm.
I give you money, lift, don't go to the court. Yeah, that
And
is
they have to
uh,
sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and then it's all
yeah. So
forgotten.
forgot everything and go away. And this we need to speak out to know, to say people, this is happening worldwide, and no country is free of sexual harassment. And it's important that people know it.
Mhm. Very, very interesting. It's do you, like you have been in this for a while? Do you see that we are moving in the right direction?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Of course, all women, we would like to move more quickly. Yeah, and to get more improvements. But we are moving in the right direction, and the proof is this ILO convention is only for that topic. It's only about violence and sexual harassment at work. And now there are 42 countries that signed that convention, and I think is growing the numbers. So I think we are moving in the right direction. But what we need now is most women and most men together speaking about that, and trying to say women what are the tools, the legal tools or the company tools to fight against this problem.
And what you say is right. Like even in our company, in Infinity Growth, which is a small company, we have, in order to get the contracts that we get with bigger corporations, we need to have anti-harassment, anti-violence, and all those kinds of procedures. So definitely, even if your company is a small company, even if the company is mid-size or large scale, independent on the industry, definitely they need to have some sort of guidance on how to approach that if that ever happens. And so it's know that, just speaking to the audience, if you are facing some of that, there are rights within the company and there are rights outside of the company, and it's just knowing those may make your life easier.
Yeah,
Isabel,
absolutely.
I think this is a really important subject. Have you seen in all your experience cases where women won? It's like they won the battle, because like you said, many just go away They'll just, this is too much energy. I need to feed my children. They're just gonna find another job. But if we are telling them, hey, there is avenues, there is ways of working, you can get, the way that you want. Have you seen that success story where someone that was sexually harassed?
Yes. In Spain, in my country, there was very very knowing, very famous case that it was more or less 20 years ago, and the law wasn't so good that now. And in a small village in the north of Spain, one young girl, 27, was sexual harassed by the mayor of the village, and she worked with the mayor, and she was sexual harassed by the mayor, and it was a really, really tough, really strong situation. And this women, this girl, go to court, to penal court, not to labor court, to penal court, because probably at that time there wasn't labor law about that. I don't know, but she went to penal court, and she won. She won definitely, and it was a very, very, very famous case, and all the TVs, all people know about that. But that girl suffered so much with people, with society, that she has to abandon Spain and never came back to live here. That is horrible. But she won. It was the first time that a woman went to court against a politic because of sexual harassment, and she won. It was the first case in Spain. Wow. And now there is a mini documental in Netflix about that. Is Nevenka. Yeah, and it's a real one. And it's a real one with real images in the newspaper, in the TV. It's everything real. And she says what she suffered and everything. And it's the first time in Spain.
Wow. We'll put the link down below. Yeah, there have been some films about it that are real cases, unfortunately, but are trying to just push from different angles, and not only in the political side, but like in Hollywood, like you said, I won't get you that line if you don't get me this, and so they don't get pulled into
the Me Too.
The Me Too, the everything. There is a lot of movements that have sparked that awareness, like this is what we are doing here, right? Awareness. So if you've ever felt that this is something that will help you or anyone around you, please share this episode with them, because it's knowing that we can speak and knowing that we are not the only one. It's very important. But most important is knowing that it's not your fault, right? It is not because you are doing something, unless you are really doing it, right? But if you're not.
Yeah, and you are not crazy, because most sometimes the harasser say, okay, you are crazy, I'm not doing. I'm not doing anything. This is normal. You are so delicate. So you have to be clear that it's not normal. It's not good, and you can fight against, because it's a thing of respect. Everybody has to respect you in all the ways.
And this is a really good point. One time I had one person that approached me and said, "But now we don't even feel good talking to women because now we're gonna get accused of something."
No.
And my answer, and that is, that is the other side of the thing. And so, where is the line? Like, you have talked about respect, you have talked about what is the line that they shouldn't cross.
Yeah, this is really curious. Of course, the line is very, very tiny, but when someone or some men ask me or say that kind of joke, okay, I can say you are beautiful because and you go to court. No. What I answered them or him is, okay, you have to treat me with respect. In the same way, you can say me, of course, okay, you are beautiful, but you have to say it in the same way that you say it to your mother or to your daughter. It's the same. It's just a way of respect. And of course, is okay, one day and no other expectations below that. You don't say, okay, you are wonderful. Do you want to come with me to a dinner or to something? Or yeah, and especially when is your boss or someone in your that you depend, because you can be forced to say yes because you are afraid of some kind of problem. So it's a line of respect. They have to treat you with respect, like in the same way that they treat her mother, his mother, or wherever. But and it's if you say, okay, no, let me alone. I don't want to hear this anymore, and I don't want to go to you with you for dinner. Or yeah, it's enough one time, no more.
That's a very, very powerful way of putting it. I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was in university doing my undergrad, I had a teacher, and I was doing a presentation for the class, and then everyone left because the next class, and I'm taking my papers off the board. And he closed the door and approaches me, and he says to me, we can go out for drinks and then we can discuss your grades. And I was like 19, and he's a 60-year-old man. And like, when you're telling me speak to the person like if they were their mother, like he would have not gone to his mother to go for drinks if they want to discuss grades. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So that was like, I got exposed to these things very early on, very young. And it turned me into someone very different because I changed. Obviously, I told him, like, you're disgusting, like, you can be my grandfather. And then I left. But then after, I was shaking because I said, oh my God, I just ruined my career. I can't.
Yeah,
He's
of course.
He's the only teacher that teaches this class. So I have to see him regardless. And he's telling me that he wants to discuss my grades. So at some point, you're kind of in between. Like, should I go? What should I do? Who should I talk to?
And he did it because he knew that you are like in debt or you depend on him. And it's because he did it. So, and of course, in the university, I guess there are now in Spain we have a politician, very famous one, that was accused by he used to give classes at the university, and I think I don't know why. Well, I don't know which one. Probably I don't know. Complutense. It doesn't matter. And he used to give class in politics, and he was accused by students girl, of course, to sexual harasser them. And is of course there is in the university, in the work, everywhere, the hospitals, wherever, and all worldwide. There is no country free of that problem.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my little, I guess, 2 cents into the discussion. So if anyone is listening to this and you're suffering of sexual harassment, speak out. Not only for you, but for everyone else that is coming behind you. Because I guess that teacher, that was the last time he did it. Because I turned into...
No, be sure.
It's your experience that is not.
He tried again. Be sure, because they are like, I don't know, like hunters. Yeah, they try again and again, because sometimes people told me in one big company they pay again and again to women, and it's always the same man. It's the same man who did it. So,
so you're right. No. That's it. Yeah, they go and do it again. So anyway, until they get a hard stop by the law, and then they'll keep on doing it.
Of course.
So this is why what you're saying, Isabel, is important. Like, we need to bring awareness to this. I really thank you for your time. I think you are one of the first lawyers, lawyer and psychologist that comes into the podcast. So this is really cool for our audience. It's been wonderful speaking with you. It's very rewarding to know that there are other people that care about those topics and that they want a better future. One last message for the audience.
Yeah, only don't be silenced. Just go to the company or go to the court, but speak loud about that, and try to look for help, psychological help and legal help, but don't be quiet and don't lose your rights. No.
And we've already spoken with Isabel about this. For our Spanish-speaking audience, we'll have this podcast in Spanish as well, because it's such an important topic that it requires as much visibility as we can get. So, Isabel, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Visila, again, for being a huge connector and a wonderful, wonderful person to look up to. I'm really grateful, and I'm really grateful for the work that you're doing, Isabel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to you, Monica. I'm really grateful to speak with you and to try to help just women that are in this horrible problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to the audience, we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Materials Business Podcast. Feel free to visit infinitygrowth.ca to see show notes and explore other episodes. If there's someone you think should hear this episode, please share with them. Take care of yourself and have a great rest of your day.